Hey everyone, I'm Matt. Welcome to my shop. Now it's raining pretty good outside right now, and so I thought for this week's video I'd spend a little bit of time in the shop, kind of give you guys an update and show you where I'm at. Now if you've been following along for the last couple of months here, you'll know that I'm working in a new shop here, and I've been slowly upgrading it from the way that it was when I got it, which was no lighting, no power. It had all these partition walls inside of it, and it smelled like weed because it was a marijuana grow. Now I know it still looks a little bit cluttered here, and definitely this half of the shop I still have some stuff on the floor. But this half of the shop, I reached a major milestone last night, and that's that I got 5 of these LED high bay UFO style lights installed and wired up to the switch by the door. That's a big milestone because now it doesn't look like a dark dungeon in here, and I feel like I can definitely use this side of the shop. Now this half over here just has one temporary light still up there, as well as the fluorescent lights that were here when I bought the place, and I still have some junk on the ground. So next I'm going to be installing lights up here, but that's actually a pretty involved process. These ceilings are 16 feet high, and so basically I'm wheeling around this scaffolding setup right here and working from light to light, and it'll take me the better part of a week working a couple hours a day to get those remaining ones up there. So each one of these LED lights is 200 watts. We're going to have 10 of them up there. So that's 2,000 watts. If you divide that by 120, you get somewhere around 17 amps. So that's actually a lot of power up there. I don't want to forget and accidentally leave these on overnight, because if I do, that's really going to run my power bill up. So that's what we're going to tackle today. I'm going to install a couple of smart switches out here, 2 of them. One's going to control one half of the shop and the other's going to control the other half. And what that'll allow me to do is set up a routine to where every day at a specified time, I'll probably choose 10 p.m., the lights will just turn themselves off. And that way, if I've accidentally forgotten and left them on, then I won't have to worry about running up the power bill by accidentally leaving the lights on all night long. I'm going to take just a minute and talk about smart switches. I have set up my house here with a Hubitat hub, and what that does is it consolidates Z-Wave and Zigbee devices, and they'll communicate with the hub itself, and then the hub acts as a bridge to take commands and traffic from those networks to my Wi-Fi network. Now, of course, one option would be to purchase some Wi-Fi type switches, and that is an option. There are maybe some advantages to that. However, Wi-Fi switches in general are more power hungry, and they introduce a lot of unnecessary network traffic to your Wi-Fi network. And so that's why I've stuck with Z-Wave. And I actually really like the programmability that comes with the Hubitat network. So that's what I'm using. That's what I'm going to install out here today. As I mentioned earlier, I'm dividing this up into 2 1,000 watt loads. And one of the reasons for that is that those smart switches will only handle 15 amps each. That's actually not a problem, because what I can do is I can add some add-on switches and essentially set them up like a 3-way. So when you push one switch, it just turns everything on, and same thing when you push the other side of the switch, it turns everything off. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to install a Z-Wave switch in my junction box over there, and then we're going to set up a daily routine to turn the lights off if they're on at 10 p.m. every day. So first step is going to be running an inclusion on my Z-Wave network to add the switch to the network, giving it a name. And I'm actually going to have to do that, I think, inside of the house. And the reason is out here in the shop, I'm a fair distance away from my hub. And during the inclusion process, the switches actually have to communicate directly with the hub. Once they're on the network, they communicate with other Z-Wave devices on the network, and the range is greatly expanded. And so what I'm hoping is that I can run the inclusion process inside the house to get the switch on the network, install it out here in the shop, and then it will work on my Z-Wave network, and then I can add it to Amazon Alexa, which is the home automation system that I use. I actually have a few routines. I have a routine to turn on all of the exterior lights around the property at sunset and then turn them back off at sunrise. And that actually operates, I think, 6 or 7 different switches for various lights around the property. So it's a pretty neat way of doing things that's not dependent on a photocell. I've got another one for watching TV. So Alexa, watch a movie.
Okay.
Hey, look at that. It turned off 6 different lights everywhere. So pretty cool. Alexa, I'm done watching TV.
Okay.
So anyway, that's kind of an example of setting up routines works pretty good. So let's add this switch to our Z-Wave network and then take it out to the shop and see if it will communicate with the rest of the mesh, and then I can add that routine to it. Okay, I've got some temporary power rigged up in here in my office, which is where my Hubitat hub is located. I've got the local interface running here. This is my list of other devices right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to run inclusion on this one. So we're going to, actually I'll tell you what, I'm going to record the screen here, and I will add the recorded screen on the edited video just for you guys. So we're going to add device. This is a Z-Wave device. We're going to start Z-Wave inclusion. The inclusion is running. I'll be careful not to touch those so I don't do the 60 Hertz shuffle. And really all it takes is 1 or 2 presses of the switch, and then it should detect the switch here on the hub. There it goes. Okay, include without security, because security can tend to mess things up. There it goes. So we're going to call this shop lights front. And I've already created a shop room, so we'll do that. And then there we go. Okay, now I have to add that shop lights front to the Alexa skill. So we'll go to apps, Amazon Echo skill, shop lights front, update. Now they're there. Now that I've added that, these should work. I should just be able to verbally tell her to turn the switch on and off, and it should work. So, Alexa, turn off the shop lights front.
Okay.
Well, they're already off. Alexa, turn on the shop lights front.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so we've tested the switch. We've got it installed. It's linked with the Alexa skill, and now I can go out to the shop and install it electrically. Hopefully it'll communicate with my mesh. Okay, I've got my circuit breaker off. For anyone that's complaining about my number of ugga-dugs that I'm tensioning this to, I will tighten it by hand. Now, and I'll get an actual feel for how tight it is. Despite the clicks that you heard, that impact's kind of weak, so I'm definitely not over torquing these. You guys may notice the kind of the layout, the video quality, and the field of view change throughout this video. That's because I'm switching between my GoPro and my phone for the recording, because the lights in the shop, the LED lights, cause like a rolling black shutter effect that I have been absolutely unable to remove from the GoPro. Don't know why they do that, but it works fine with my phone. So until I get the rest of the lights out here and get that sorted out, I'll be doing some of my shots with the phone to eliminate that rolling shutter effect. So let's get the breaker. Okay, breaker's on. Ooh, hey, there we go. Lights are on. And there we go. Now you see that rolling shutter effect. Sucks. I'll figure it out one of these days. Okay, over to my phone to eliminate that rolling shutter effect. Let's take a look at the switch here. Okay, the switch works just fine. Now I suppose my next step is to see if it's on my Z-Wave network. All right, guys, I'll confess I've spent a little bit of time off camera here trying to make this work, and it does under some circumstances. So what I've done is I played around a little bit with the with my Z-Wave mesh, and I do have a Z-Wave switch on the man door to the garage, which is about maybe 60, 70 feet away. The problem is it's got to go, like line of sight, it goes through the metal siding on the shop. It's got to go through the garage door and possibly some siding inside the shop. It does that occasionally with kind of hit or miss reliability, but when my wife's car is parked in there, that's in the way too, then it doesn't work at all anymore. So I'm going to show you, I did this off camera. I was planning on doing this eventually anyway, so I just decided to do this now to see if it helped. So I added another switch right here. This switch controls that outlet up there, right there. Eventually, you saw that was a 2-gang box. I'm going to be adding a second one. And all the switches that I have in here are going to be tied together. So if you operate one, it's going to turn on all the lights together. And it doesn't matter what location you're in. It'll turn on the lights in the warehouse area back there or the main part of the shop, all the lights in here. But I knew I was going to do that eventually, so I thought I'd add that switch and see if it helped with strengthen the mesh. It did not. And so right now the 2 switches that are out here are kind of standalone. They're not connected to the mesh, so I can't control them with any of my smart home stuff. Is what it is. Not all my projects go exactly according to plans. So I think I'm going to buy a $30 Z-Wave range extender and put it on the inside wall in the garage. That'll eliminate like the garage door and the car and all that kind of stuff. And I think if I put it up kind of high, it'll have kind of good line of sight to these 2 switches. Yeah, I guess that's the next step. Gonna have to wait for some stuff to show up from Amazon now. Well, as often happens, a night passes, I get a chance to think about the project, and then a solution presents itself. That's kind of what happened last night. So it's the following day. I started researching Z-Wave repeaters last night, and then I got to thinking, where am I going to mount that in the garage? And then as I thought about it more and more, they're not that expensive. They're, $30. But as I thought about it more and more, I thought, I don't have an ideal placement for my Hubitat hub as it is. If I was to draw a circle around all my Z-Wave devices, the hub is on the very outer edge of that circle right now. It's not centrally located. And centrally located would be in the garage, which puts it a lot closer to the switches that are out in the shop that I just installed. So I decided, you know what, that'll get it out of my office and declutter some of the cables that are there. I can 3D print a bracket, mount it on the ceiling out in the garage, and maybe that'll just solve my problem. So I kind of got to looking at my routing tables, and sure enough, the switches that were further away from the hub were already taking a couple of hops to communicate with each other. So I'm thinking that placing this hub on the ceiling in the garage will eliminate all those hops. I think everything can connect directly to the hub, and I think it'll help with communication to those switches out in the shop. So let's get to work on that. I fired up the 3D printer this morning and printed this little bad boy out of ABS. I'll show you. This is the hub right here. I do have a 2 amp wall wart right here to power it with. However, I'm going to power it with this adapter that I already have on the ceiling, and that has a USB power supply already built into it. It's powering my Davis WeatherLink right there. So I think I can just plug this right into that and eliminate an extra transformer there, and I think it's going to work pretty good. This thing basically just snaps into here. Let me see, one of these is offset. It's this one, just like this. Anyway, that just snaps right into there. This has some recessed screw mounts to just screw it right to the ceiling. This thing doesn't weigh anything. So I think I got everything I need. Okay, I got a green light, and I can see inside of the app that now all of my devices are connected directly to the hub. The 2 shop devices only show 1 neighbor each, which means they can probably only see each other and the hub, but that's totally fine. They seem to be connected at a fairly high speed and working pretty well, so we're gonna walk out to the shop here and attempt to control them with the phone. If that works, then we'll come back inside and set up that nighttime shutdown routine that I was talking about. It is a crappy weather day today. Boy, it has been blowing and raining like crazy all day. We got a high wind warning. It starts tonight, so. All right, lights are on. Gonna get that rolling shutter effect on my Hero 11. You know, it's funny, that dumb rolling shutter effect. I have 3 other GoPro cameras. I tried it with all of them. A Hero 8, a Hero 9, and a GoPro Max. The rolling shutter effect does not happen on any of them, only the Hero 11. It doesn't happen on my phone either, so I don't know. So it's frustrating, but maybe if I'm filming out here, I just need to use a different camera. So anyway, got the switch installed. The lights are on. All right, we've got the mobile app here. We've got shop lights front here and shop lights back. So shop lights front. Hey, that worked. Let's try that one back there. All right, we are in business. All right, guys, I'd say that project is pretty much a wrap. So we've got our switches installed and functioning. They're working well on the Z-Wave network. There's no other issues there. So I'm gonna go inside and program Alexa to do a 10 p.m. shutdown every single day on these lights, just in case I forget, and leave them on. Stay tuned, because I have some kind of exciting things coming up. I'm sure you guys know I used to have a BenPack 2-post lift in my old shop. I still have access to that, but it's a long ways away. It's a bit of a drive. So my goal is, in the next week, to get all this stuff off the floor and organized back in the warehouse area back there, get all this stuff stripped off the ceiling and the remaining 5 lights installed, because I have a 2-post lift coming next week. Now, in my old shop, I had a BenPack 10,000-pound asymmetric lift. Worked fine for me. I've had it for, I think, 15 years. So I did a lot of shopping, and I ordered one here a week and a half ago. It's supposed to be here at the end of the week, and so hopefully I'll have all this stuff cleared out of here and I can install that, and then I will, again, have a lift in my shop. So thank you guys for following along. I appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next video.